Most of the time, when the first thing you hear about a series is general confusion and that it had a really weird episode 2, things don't go all that great. It usually means a show bit off more than it can chew or has poor narrative direction, often both. While not a death sentence to the quality of a show overall, in the seasonal anime climate of 12 to 13 episode shows, you usually have to get off to a strong start. So then wasn't I surprised when I finally sat down to watch Deca-Dence and found myself immediately immersed and gripped by the first 4 episodes. All I had heard going in was that episode 1 oozed Attack on Titan vibes, and that episode 2 was quote-unquote really weird and threw a lot of people off. Someone had mentioned that half the fun was just seeing how people reacted to said episode. And that's kinda true, but I'm honestly amazed about how undersold this show has been this season. The last remaining humans living in a gigantic mobile fortress fighting off beasts using unique gear that lets them float weightlessly feels like a pretty easy sell to me, at least. Yet it sits at 9th overall this season in popularity on Mal, and this is a season with less than 20 shows total. Part of this is probably because of the vagueness of its trailers, giving it a wait-and-see vibe, but I can't imagine the overall confused discourse about episode 2 really helped. Now, generally I shy away from even mentioning that there's a reveal or twist type of thing in a show because I'm super touchy when it comes to spoilers, and I consider that a pretty big one, since you know something is coming. In Deca-Dence, it happens early enough and is so fundamental to the show that I'm breaking my warrior's code on this one. Mostly because I knew something was afoot going in, and it still got me to pause the episode and go, "What?" out loud. I won't mention any actual spoilers, but episode 2 was one of the most compelling seasonal episodes I've watched all year. It doesn't just drop a reveal and coast either, it went all in on fleshing out the world and the characters, and I was enthralled. It genuinely surprised me, created an incredibly interesting world, and made me want to continue on with this story. It took what I was worried might just be written off as another Attack on Titan clone to the next level. While Attack on Titan isn't the only fighting monsters with cool gear show that should ever be allowed, it was still wildly entertaining to see this idea taken degrees away from that show's foundation. It wasn't just one plot-based reveal that surprised me either. You could say that the entire package that's been delivered so far was the biggest surprise of all. Deca-Dence just oozes that trigger-like charm. Although not as polished stylistically as their shows are, it was the first thing that really stood out to me upon watching. A shock, I know. It was then no surprise to learn that director Yuzuru Tachikawa has worked with Trigger in the past, doing storyboards for Kill la Kill and Kisniver, as well as directing episode 7 of Kill la Kill. That Imaishi influence is there, even if Tachikawa has his own style built off of directing things such as Death Parade and Mob Psycho. And it's a style that, given its influences, I absolutely adore. I love the way that Natsume is portrayed through the animation with hilarious and varied facial expressions alongside crisp movements. I could say the same for all the characters, but she clearly has had the most time and care dedicated to her. She reminds me of Emma from Promised Neverland a lot actually, not just because she has orange hair. That seemingly never-ending energy and cheerful outlook in a doomed world, which is a great foil for Kabaragi's gruff and sarcastic demeanor. And it's good that both the main characters are fantastic because there haven't been many other notables yet. But the pace of the show has been moving fast enough that hopefully that will change soon. Also, a quick aside, Kabaragi is voiced by Katsuyuki Konishi, who has a very impressive catalog of performances and is Diavolo in JoJo's Part 5. The main villain of the show is voiced by Takehito Koyasu, or Dio, and watching them interact just sends me every single time. Also, Konishi voices Fuegoleon in Black Clover, and another character he interacts with in Deca-Dence is voiced by Kosuke Toriumi, who is Nozel and also Mista from JoJo's. I could keep going, but I know no one else cares about this, just know that it improves my enjoyment of the show. Anyway, back to Deca-Dence itself, it really does seem to be setting up to be something really good, if not special. I love the world they've built, the main characters they've given us, and the story they've begun to tell. I honestly have no idea where it's going. Next episode, let alone by the end of the series, and that excites me. But also I liked the first few episodes of Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, so guess we just gotta wait and see what happens. As you can see, my personal track record on seasonal shows is mixed. at best, so please check out Deca-Dence for yourself and see what you think. I'm sure not everyone is of the same mind as me on episode 2 and even where the story is going now. But at the very least, I do think it's worth giving a try. And who knows, maybe you'll be surprised just like I was.